Hello, Bill Clodsey here, drafting the Vintage Cube online. Now, it's been a while, so it'll be good to come into this draft with a clean slate and see where the cards take us. Green, I do like mono green decks, and the 1-drops are important for that. I want to keep myself a bit more open, so Shelldock Isle definitely gives a free way to cast a lot of good things in the late game, or if you're playing blue, you'll have ways of drawing through your deck and getting it off a bit early. So since there's no real power in this pack, the next best thing is going to be cheating some monster into play. So we could pick up something like Emrakul or some Eldrazi, and that's always fun. Shelldock Isle. Okay, next I'm going to lean away from Storm just because I don't know it that well, but here's Time Spiral. Untap 6 lands, draw a bunch of cards, and that can really help you go off in a single turn. A little bit high variance, but usually you'll be able to win off the back of a Time Spiral if you have the right deck for it. Then, Narset. Geez, what an awful card. Awfully good. But maybe I'll avoid it here. I should probably just take it. This is a single elimination draft, so I really don't want to play against it, and there's nothing insanely good in this pack. The other options here are like Taiga or Hero, because that kind of wins on its own if you're in a control deck or an aggro deck. Burst Lightning's fine, but not amazing. So I think Narset is really the follow-up to Shelldock Isle. The other option here is Fallen Shinobi. It's a bit expensive for what it does, but what it does is hit your opponent and then kind of win the game. But I think we're going to hold back on that one. Remand, I really do like the 2-mana counter magic, even if it's not premium like Mana Drain. Also being in blue gets me thinking Remand is a good option here. Preordained good, but it's not Ponder. Volcanic Island and Polluted Delta are two more good ones. And the nice parts about these are they keep us open to being 2 colors and fixing our mana. So that might be more important even than Remand, but that is tough. That's close. Yeah, I'm going to go for Remand here. Time Warp, Force of Negation, 2 more good blue options, and we seem to be running out of other options for lands and things. Catacombs are fine, but being so blue here, we'd rather have one of those blue fetch lands or dual lands. Force of Negation, definitely a powerful one, kind of the force of will negate, so this is going to help against planeswalkers and all that kind of thing. As long as we can get some card advantage, Force of Negation is going to be one good way to secure a game. Another 3-mana planeswalker. Hopefully we can find a Mox or something to ramp into some of these, but that looks good. Elspeth Conquers Death could be good. It's a bit expensive for a removal spell, but it definitely gets the value if you can get it off Chapter 3 here and return something, or maybe do that a couple times. Brain Freeze, there's the Storm payoff. And Mana Tithe, and some mana options that aren't great. The other good option here would be Chalice, but let's take Jace. That secures or shores up the card advantage if we can get that into play. Now we really have to go into another color here, which could be Progenitus, although I don't know how to cheat that into play besides Shelldock Isle, which is a good way, or being some green deck. I don't mind being in green, certainly, but we don't have much of a start in green, so I'm not sure if we want to double down on something like Terastodon yet. So Banishing Light looks good. This is a way to deal with something that does slip into play, and it pretty much deals with anything. So let's grab that, and it's not too hard to splash white, or at least that's the hope here. Alright, kind of a slow looter with the upside of cheating big creatures into play, the Arcane Artisan. But if this ever dies, then all of its tokens that it made disappear, so might have to hold off on that one. Absent might be decent. Dryad of the Elysian Grove does help us with our color requirements here. Maria Angel is not amazing, but it's okay. I could also just take Seachrome Coast here. but I think I'm going to go Arcane Artisan. As weird as that looks, I'm not sure it's going to make the main deck, but at this point, it's the last blue card, and we could pick up some big monsters and cheat them into play. Bloodstained Mire, a late fetch land coming around, and I think that's more likely we want black-red than green-red, although we do see more green open. Other options, Mother of Runes, and some other stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bloodstained Mire here. I just think of black being a better control pair with red. Scarab God is back, and Maze of Ith. Scarab God, let's see, the problem with the looting of Arcane Artisan is it does exile the card. So card advantage, that's all fine, but it doesn't give you much graveyard interaction. So let's see, it's also, if your opponent is hellbent, a way to mill them, I suppose, but just watch out for that. Yeah, I think Maze of Ith would be an option here, but the Scarab God might give us a nice way to finish out a game. Corpse Dance. I don't like that style of card. I'd rather just get my creature into play permanently. And it does exile it, so it can't really be used again with the Scarab God. And then Oath of Druids. That might be a decent way to take this game. Yeah, it didn't take the right fixing for it, but we are pretty low on creatures and we might get some really powerful ones. So we'll see if we can make Oath work. I'll have to watch out for ways of giving our opponents creatures. There are a few ways of doing that, but I'm not familiar with what all of the options are. And another Oblivion Ring type card, that should be good enough. Okay, Woodfall Primus. Here we go as an option for Oath, and let's just grab that. These other options are okay, like Buried Alive might be fine, but I think it'll be fun to make some kind of Oath deck here. Ah, another option, Elspeth Conquers Death. I don't love Pernicious Deed. Wildwood is okay, but maybe we just give up on the green and go into this nonsense. Mirari's Wake? Alright, maybe we're just green-white. Who knows? Green-white without any creatures. So I did take some early blue, but I think we can give up on the blue. Reanimate would be nice, and then there's Karn here, and Underground Sea, which could potentially help us. But I'm starting to like this green-white plan. Karn? Well, whatever direction we go, Karn is going to be good. Jiraga Tree Speaker could help us ramp, but I think the ship is sailed on ramping, with small creatures anyway. Let's take Karn here. Karn versus Reanimate. Yeah, okay, let's grab this Karn. Can never be too sad about that. And then Fast Bond. Fast Bond Oath. And then Azorius Signet if we want to give up on this green. I don't know if I do want to give up on the green. We're also seeing some good blue options here. Force of Will, Azorius Signet, and the like. Yeah, Fast Bond, we don't really have much of a combo with it yet. It'd be cute to build up a lot of crazy green and white non-creatures to go with Oath, but Force of Will is just completely good here. And then the Signet. I kind of want the Signet, but Force is probably too good. Ancestral Vision, not exactly the right draw 3 for us, but not awful either. And then Phantasmal Image to copy something. Not great with Oath, but that ship might have sailed here. And then Savannah, which would help us play something like Oath. We can't fetch it with Bloodstained Mire, so maybe I chose the wrong land in that pack. Scarab God, that's one I'm not really looking at either. I do want some ramp though, so maybe Orzhov Signet is the best option for us here, even though it's just kind of a white Signet. Yeah, let's grab that. Eureka. That gets all permanents from your play into hand or from your hand into play if you want them. So that is all kinds of Oblivion Rings, Conquers Death, Karns, and the like. Scrubland, that's a good one. I'm not really missing out too much on Sphinx is Rev, although that would be good in a white-blue deck for sure. But Scrubland is fetchable by Bloodstained Mire, and that's important if we're going to get out early control cards. So tough pick here, but let's grab Scrubland. Consecrated Sphinx, and then Uro. So there are some new additions to this cube, and this being one of the major ones. But Consecrated Sphinx, that definitely gives us a good way to finish out some games here. So let's grab that. I think we are doing poorly on the early game, but we'll try to shore that up in the next pack and a half. And hopefully we'll have a couple creatures, enough to make Elspeth Conquers Death a way to come back and win some late game. Restoration Angel, always fine. And then Thassa's Oracle, pretty good in the early game. And if we're on some kind of self-mill plan, it gets even better. Not sure if that really applies to us. Lumbering Falls. What do we have to go with that? Mirari's Wake. Wilderness Reclamation with more flash creatures would be interesting. I'll take Oracle here. Not sure if that's going to really help us, but can't be too bad. Relic of Progenitus, that's something to do early, and it also shuts down some decks completely. So it's a good option to have. Chart a Course, if we wanted to discard cards, would be better. But this looks just like a silver bullet in case we end up against the right deck. It's nice to have it. Spell Pierce, a negate unless they pay 2, and not much else here unless we want the Signet. Yeah, the Signet looks like a good option, because we still have just about enough to make, where is it? Oath of Druids a potential pick here, because we'll always get Sphinx or Thassa's Oracle. I guess the Oracle's not that good, but the Sphinx definitely is. And it is a white Signet, so it does help out regardless. Oh, and Reanimate here. We might just be able to sneak Reanimate in. Or possibly the Sphinx of the Steel Wind, which is another good Oath target. And potentially castable, 8 mana. And we do have white and blue for sure, and then the random Scrubland and potentially whatever else. So it's between Reanimate, which would work mostly for our opponent's creatures, Thragtusk, which is decent, and then Sphinx. So we'll grab the Sphinx here and see if that can't help us out. Sword of War and Peace. Unfortunately, without enough creatures, that's not going to help us. So it's not going to be that good against us either. So I'm thinking maybe Assassin's Trophy, but the black would be tough. So yeah, just grab this sword. Path. Kroxa coming late, but it's difficult to make a 2-color aggro deck, especially black-red. Maybe white-red is easier. Path of Exile, that gives us something to do early, and I think that's pretty important here. Wear and Tear with no red, and then Day of Judgment, and that's probably what we need, although Iona is another really interesting option with Oath of Druids. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I'm going to take Iona here, but it could easily be wrong, and I'll take Exhume from someone. Not a huge fan of Gideon. Let's see, it's always a 4/4. It mostly works with other creatures. Yeah, I'll take Exhume. One more pack to make sense of this. Maybe we're looking for some fixing. No great fixing in this pack, but if we're prioritizing 2-mana counter magic, there's Mana Leak here for us. And Nissa, who shakes the world. This is really powerful, but I think you need a lot of forests in your deck to make it playable. Plateau doesn't help. Okay, so not going to be much power here unless the person to the right of us opened 2 Moxen or something, but Mana Leak will always be good for a deck like this. Alright, now we have some fixing. Coalition Relic. Temple Garden is somewhat appealing here. Prismatic Vista is always fine to throw in a deck, and Cryptic Command is quite nice, but with a deck kind of as strange as this, I'm not going to give up on Coalition Relic. That turns all of this unplayable stuff into playable stuff and can ramp into a Sphinx or a Karn and give us lots to do with the extra cards we'll draw off of Sphinx and Jace. So that's enough reason to take Coalition Relic here. It's a lot of mana and a lot of color fixing for one card. Maybe the best 3 mana rock they've ever printed. Let's see what we can do here. Elspeth's Son's Nemesis, another thing that requires creatures to be really good. Golos is interesting. That can get any land card, kind of like a Primeval Titan, but less restrictive on the mana, so it can get something like Sheldock Isle for this deck. Winter Orb, no. Mystical Tutor. This won't get any of our great removal, like the Oblivion Ring. So this pack, yeah, underwhelming for us, for sure. It does get Remand and Force of Will and those type of things. Spellseeker, instant or sorcery that costs 2 or less. I don't see any ways of giving yeah, creatures to our opponent, so maybe we can just grab Golos here. Yeah, we have Coalition Relic, so maybe that's enough to make it good. Ooh, Library coming late. I was hoping some power would be passed, and this qualifies. It's certainly up there with the power level of something like, well, it's better than Time Twister, I would say. But yeah, that can get in this deck. Probably better than some Mox, although I'd usually take a Mox just because the feeling of getting something ahead on board on turn 1 is just so good. This is a bit different because it slows you down in some ways, but infinite card draw, basically. Yeah, that's a nice one. Treachery is another good one, and maybe Oracle could wiggle into this deck, but Library is definitely a gift here. Council's Judgment, very similar to the Banishing Light Oblivion Ring, but it answers more things, which can be important. And Mystic Confluence. Once you get to 5 mana, this is the real deal, so that is my pick here. Wow, we have no 4-drops, so we'll just put these at the 4-drop slot. And Ashiok. Another potential gift, or is it a burden since we don't have the fixing for it? I guess we just about have enough fixing, and we should probably take out the green to make room for all of this. But Ashiok is good enough to play in this, and more red-white fixing, which doesn't help. Potentially Baral is decent, but let's grab Ashiok. That'll be a good way to win some of these games. Sylvan Library coming late, and Venser. Time to pick up a 4-drop, maybe. Potentially Lightning Greaves, but that only helps a few things, and we're not in a rush. Venser protects things like Ashiok and so forth, so I'm going to grab that here. Not really missing out on anything else, maybe Necromancy, but having more blue cards is also not awful. Ashen Rider. How much black are we really expecting to play in this deck? Maybe not enough to make that good. Animate Dead certainly gets a lot better now that we have a few more good options, although we don't have many ways of discarding our own stuff. And it does make our own Relic a bit worse. But do we really want Fairground Warden? I'll take Animate Dead, but we'll keep that one in the maybe pile. Hero's Downfall, more red-white fixing, Giver of Runes, Gifts Ungiven, and Makeshift Mannequin. Return target creature card from your graveyard. Yeah, so these are a lot worse than the Animate Dead style effects, which can get from either graveyard. Bloodstained Mire, that already gets black, or, oh, I guess it could get white. Yeah, that's fine to take here. With the Bloodstained Mire, it finds another way of getting white. So who knows, maybe that's worth it. Oh wow, Temple Garden? Probably we just want Muldrifter here, a few more, a little bit more card draw in the deck and a fine option to just kill your opponent in the late game, if we want that. Grizzlebrand, probably too hard to cheat into play for us. Caracas is fine. Yeah, just kind of an upgrade to a Plains, and we're in those colors. And yeah, we could have had a pretty good green deck, it looks like. I mean, these are Tooth and Nail and Craterhoof. I mean, that's a win on its own, but I guess we'll take Tooth and Nail and Avenger. Yeah, those three cards together would pretty much win most games, but how about this? Maybe we need one cut, but this looks just about right. Two Signets, maybe we don't even need a cut. The real questions are, do we want to bring in the Scarab God? And do we have any good cuts to make, like maybe Golos? Coalition Relic can add 2 colors in a turn, and then we have, yeah, we probably have just about enough to get Golos working. Move things around a little bit. The weakness of this deck so far looks like the very early game, so we could get run over, but all in all, we're probably doing all right. Yeah, let's give up on green here. We don't have any natural fixing for it, and Bloom and Marsh is not exactly the best fixing when I'm looking to fetch and to go into the very late game, so this is usually going to come into play tapped. All right, too many cards here, so let's see. I don't think we're cheating in Iona. We want to be able to hardcast most things, so I'll leave Iona out here and just have a few good options. That's 23, which could be okay if we have a lot of card draw. We have Doss's Oracle. It'll be fun if that ever wins us a game, and it might. We have a few permanents here. In a deck like this, your Planeswalkers are basically acting as creatures on curve. And those guys, we probably play Relic main deck just because it's one of the few things we can do. Elspeth Conquers Death, yeah, that's just about right. This looks just about right to me. A little heavy on lands, maybe, but it'll be nice to curve out. And we do have Library, which is somewhat acting like a land, but not completely, and we do have a fetch. So let's see if we can balance this mana a bit. So 2 black cards, yeah, a little Esper control deck here. 13, 5, and 2, if we're gonna nitpick it, and then a couple extra sources of white. 13, 5, 2. Start with something like this, but the mana gets a little bit better when we add these non-basics. So Bloodstained Mire, that's going to be a white source, I think. I don't know if we need this black by itself, but without it, yeah, play 1 Plains. Without it, I'm not sure we have enough for an early Ashiok. Let's see. Well, that's why we count. So that's the first pass here. And that looks like 4 sources of black early. The only wonder here is if we're going to have enough blue in the very early game, but we don't have that many blue things to do. So that's 4. I guess all in all, it's 5 sources of black. Make sure I count all of the necessary things. 8 sources of white. So that might be the cut here. Take out a white, put in a blue, and early, too bad we don't have something to fetch blue, but early we have 11 sources of blue, which is not a lot, but then later we're going to have 12, and yeah, I still don't want to cut that swamp, I think. So why don't we, despite having Scrubland being fetchable by the fetch here, so yeah, 11 sources of blue, and that's more than a quarter of our deck. So I'm a little bit unhappy about that for the 2 mana Planeswalkers, or 2 blue, double blue Planeswalkers on turn 3, but we'll see if that works, and it should work. So that is our control deck, and I'll see you in the matches. All right, on the draw, and a great hand to have the draw with Library of Alexandria. Hopefully we don't get run over, because this is going to be a lot of card advantage. Black Cleave Cliffs, black-red? We'll see. So, yep, back down to 7 cards, and we'll just draw on our opponent's turn. So we don't have to discard anything. I guess if you were playing Reanimator, you'd want to do that draw, and then discard your big monster to play in turn 2. It begins. Oh, maybe a Grixis control deck. We were fighting hard for blue, so it makes a little sense. Now we're up to 9 cards, so let us not hold up Mana Leak, I don't think. We still have 8 cards, so I think what we want to do is just play Relic here. Maybe they're the Reanimation deck, although Reanimation seemed to be going around the table as well. No reason why someone couldn't have pivoted into it late in a pack. But yeah, already drawing so many more cards than our opponent. All right, one more. Don't have the black source yet for Ashiok, and they could have a bunch of counter magic and the like as well, so it's kind of tough to see what to do here. Maybe we just want to discard a card, or maybe play Narset. Let's see, that'll get us down to 8. Yeah, see what they do about Narset. All right, that resolves. And I think we just leave it at 5 loyalty here, because anything we do will get us up to too many cards in hand. And they did nothing. Well, that's wonderful. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. They have no board presence. And they're still not doing much. Okay, so now we've got 8 cards again. We can do that. We can draw a card. And now what? The Signet doesn't let us Mana Leak, and I kind of want to keep Mana Leak up here. But we have too many cards. So, what are the options here? Well, we could try to cast Jace. Or we could try to cast Signet and hold and have the defenses down. Oh, tough turn. Let's just go Jace. They haven't been doing much. Jace resolves. Target player draws a card. That'll be me. I guess I could do it to them, but they could still draw the first card off of that. And now we'll have to discard, so let's go ahead and discard. I actually like everything here. Maybe least of all the Signet. Yeah, hopefully we'll be drawing enough land each turn. I realize that can ramp us up to Karn and things. And if they just do nothing, I mean, it's going to be an easy game, but even when you're ahead, you still want to maximize the chance of winning. I could have myself exile that thing. They're still getting a bunch of land. Oh, you know what this is? It's a storm deck. It is a storm deck, and we are potentially more behind than I realized. 8 cards. Venser might help. Yeah, potentially we want to get rid of Path if that's the case. Now, the Relic is going to help us out against a Storm deck for sure. I do want to keep drawing cards as I can here. Especially if they brain freeze me. This is not going to be fun. Yeah, interesting. Well, maybe getting something like Force of Will would be strong. Force of Negation. Yeah, let's grab Force of Negation then. And pass it here. Or play Venser. What Venser is good at doing here is returning Blackcleave Cliff to their hand and starting a clock. Now they know we have Force of Negation. What we don't have is an extra mana for Relic, so this is a bit risky, I would say. But plenty of things to pitch to Force. Ashiok can do wonders against a Storm deck because sometimes they only have a few pieces that give them the win, so if you manage to exile them, then their deck is a bit crippled. But yeah, we can get rid of Path, and we can get rid of maybe one of our creatures. I like Karn because that'll attack their mana base. Maybe Karakas, but that's our only white source. Probably not Shelldock, so why don't we get rid of Sphinx of the Steel Wind? And if they try to reanimate our Sphinx, we've got Relic to exile it. Alright, Blackcleave Cliff's into play tapped, and now they're going for something. Maybe they're going to go after Narset here. Chain Lightning on Narset. So I think we want to force that. And let's force that pitching Consecrated Sphinx. Sucks, but they want to draw cards, and we do not want them to draw cards. Alright, leave Relic alone here. Bloodstained Mire, that gives us an Ashiok. And I want to draw a card first, so let's just cash in Jace here. Elspeth Conquers Death doesn't do it. Now we can draw with Library. And so many options here. Okay, let's go ahead and get Ashiok into play. The other option is to try to do this through the Signet, but I don't actually love that. So now we start milling them, and they've got a lot of threats to deal with for sure. Okay, they do not want us to see their game plan, and they think we don't know it, but it has to be Storm. They would definitely have had interaction with that mana base already. Storm. Anything we can do against Storm? Relic does help a lot because often they try to do a Yawgmoth's Will back from the graveyard. A lot of our spells maybe aren't so good though, like Path to Exile doesn't really help us. It might help target our own thing. Iona would be amazing to get into play if possible. But is it possible? And this is, yeah, Chain Lightning can kill Arcane Artisan, so maybe that's not amazing. But we do have Animate Dead Iona. And if we keep drawing a million cards, I mean, that's the power of Library of Alexandria, if we can get that. But we don't have many other ways of discarding cards that I can see. Let's see. You have to exile for Force of Negation. Thassa's Oracle just puts it on the bottom. Thassa's Oracle is a way to win if they brain freeze us but don't finish us off. Iona, yeah, I can't imagine Iona being any good, but I can imagine Animate Dead being good. Let's try that. If they have a kill spell, or maybe their own creature, like some goblin that we managed to kill somehow, although I don't even know how we kill creatures. Mostly we're going to be exiling. So we'll see. This hand is much worse, but it does have a relic, and that counts for something. It also has Force of Will, which counts for something. So on the draw with Force of Will is a great equalizer. Turn 1 here. Do I want to draw more land? I guess kind of, so just do Relic. I don't mind drawing land here. Pretty sure. Oh, they are doing something. Grim Monolith. That's going to be a lot of mana next turn. We could force this, but that doesn't get much done. Rather, they just have it tapped for a while. I'd rather force the thing they cast with it and then have it stay tapped. Alright. Mire pass. And that'll get white-black, I think. Scrubland. The natural. Might as well get it now. Don't see why not. They don't know we have Force of Will. They know we have Force of Negation in the deck because we revealed that before we drew it, but they don't know about Force of Will. Elspeth Conquers Death. There's some permanents that this can get rid of besides Monolith, but I guess we're not really seeing those yet. Here I think we just play Jace and see if that resolves. Really don't want them drawing any cards, thank you very much, so let's draw some cards for ourselves. Alright. Can they go off on turn 4? Chain Lightning on that poor thing. Yeah, let's let that happen. Are they just going to do that and pass? Because that is one less storm for them. Goodbye, Chain Lightning. We got a little bit out of it. I mean, we got their Chain Lightning and drew a card. So this turn might be a good time to do Signet Mulldrifter. Oh, I hope they don't counter this. Oh, good. Okay. So we get to draw 2 cards off of this. We could always wait a turn and do this later, but yeah, I'm not in... I don't feel like the 2 damage from Mulldrifter is going to be the big decider this game. Hopefully we don't have to discard Venser for Force of Will. I'd love to draw a few more cards before getting this going. Yeah, they're just waiting for something to do, it looks like. Coalition Relic. Maybe we just save up enough cards to get Library working. That's 6. We could always crack Relic now and then draw, or we could do that on their turn. So let's wait here. That's probably worth doing. Relic can win against them. I might just wait until my turn. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until our turn comes back around here. Perfect. Okay, so now we draw a card with the Library just because we can. Play land and play Ashiok. That might be enough, so let's see what we can get. Exile the top 2 cards of their deck. High Tide, Mystical Tutor, Vampiric Tutor. Fortunately for them, those aren't so important. Also, should we hold the mana? Oh, I guess we still hold the mana up if Coalition Relic resolves. For Relic. All kinds of relics in play. I've never had this many relics in play. Ashiok is putting them on a brutal clock. So what do they have here? Repeal? Repeal the relic. So let me think if I want to crack my relic, and I think I don't. Oh, that's tough. what I would do is add the mana, let their repeal go to the graveyard, and then use it. But I guess we're not going to be doing that. But what I can do is just have them exile this, yeah, before it gets back to them. Yeah, might help stop them cast a big delve spell or cast repeal again for cheap. Oh, what are they up to now? Brainstorm? I'll let Brainstorm happen. Yeah, they could definitely go off this turn. Hopefully Force of Will can stop something. But if you're going to fight with your opponent's cheap stuff on their big storm turn, you better hope they can't continue going off, or you just help their storm count. But if it's a big mana doubler, something maybe akin to High Tide, that would be worth countering here. If it's just Dark Ritual, I feel like we can let that go. Entomb. Oh, I don't like this. I really don't like this. Let's let Entomb happen. Entomb for Past in Flames, right. So they've got 8 mana here. Are they going to do this now? No, they'd have to do it after casting some more interesting things, I suppose. Oh, the storm count is already too high. Let's see. Entomb, Past in Flames. Force of Will makes it 3. We have to avoid like 7, I think. Poetic Ritual. Oh, maybe we should Force of Will Past in Flames when they do that. But this is their last red. So I think Force of Willing Poetic Ritual makes sense here. Yeah, let's get rid of Poetic Ritual. Because when it gets back to our turn, we can exile their graveyard with Relic. Okay, so, oh shoot, they don't have the red to do that again. That's the good news. The bad news is that if they have some other red ritual, yeah, it's going to be rough. Or dark ritual. Still, that's storm count 3. It won't give us the count. Sometimes it does, but Cabal Ritual for... I'm just hoping they don't have Brain Freeze, but this might be something Time Spiral, or yeah, Time Spiral? Turnabout. Oh no! Okay, we definitely lose. Now, it really depends on what they have, but if they can entomb something better... Maybe I should have waited on Poetic Ritual, but it really seemed to get rid of all of their red sources. Manamorphose, they might be kind of digging here, although that gives them 2 more draws with Past in Flames, because Past in Flames gives them infinite mana from their graveyard this turn. Elspeth Conquers Death. I don't see that that does anything in this matchup. But thank goodness for Relic of Progenitus. I could have just held that. I didn't know how important their graveyard was exactly. It's still possible we're not dead. Ritual, Cabal Ritual, although they don't have Threshold. It'd be tough for them to get Threshold here. So just adds 1 more mana. They have to be careful about what mana they get, because this is funny. Manamorphose, you're going to have to choose the colors you get before you draw the card. So you have to know your deck pretty well. They're getting more blue with that. Storm count 9, so basically any storm card kills us here, if they can find it. Show game log, show chat, see if they're... how much they're struggling here. So infinite mana. Brainstorm, yeah. Can they find what they need in their top 3? We didn't really hurt them too much by our mill, our 1 mill here. Cabal Ritual. Entomb and Tendrils kills us, and Brain Freeze kills us. Tendrils to the graveyard? Do they have a way of Yawgmoth willing that back or something? Snapcaster? Dark Petition. But they don't have Spell Mastery, so all they can get is a blue card. Oh no. Maybe they thought that Past in Flames would work on cards that entered after, but no, it doesn't. Well, I thought we were well and truly dead here, but they couldn't find Tendrils in their hand, so they didn't get it. Fun to watch, I guess. Yeah. Relic, good against Reanimation, good against Storm, and be careful leaving your defenses down, even if you think they're up. But great, see you in round 2. Round 2 on the draw again with Library of Alexandria. And I wonder if there's any hand you'd keep, any 7-card hand you'd mulligan with Library of Alexandria in it. Because you just get to keep drawing a bunch of cards, so if your hand's bad, it's going to get much better quick. That should give us some time, Forest, so we'll go Library here, pass it to them, maybe turn to Signet, or possibly turn 3 if we want to keep drawing cards next turn, but we'll see how we'll see how good their hand is here. Channel, that could be a problem. If this is Channel Emrakul, we are pretty much dead. Oh, wait. I even pressed F6 here. But what we can do is try to draw a counter spell for their stuff. Wait, are they not going to be able to use Channel? Unbelievable. Oh, maybe they needed green here. Or maybe they were trying to bait counter magic? That was really strange. But I'll take it. That was so strange. Good deck, anyway. But yeah, I just can't explain what just happened. 8. Alright, I suppose we'll play Signet this turn, because otherwise we don't have anything to do. We'll have to discard to Library, and that's kind of defeats the purpose. Black Lotus, okay. We still don't have a way to defeat a big spell this turn, but what is this? Primeval Titan? That's a good one. So they do get the 2 lands here, and hopefully Banishing Light can deal with that. 4, 7, we could draw on our upkeep, but I don't think that's necessary. We can just play the land first. All right. So we play land. I don't think it has to be black here. Then we'll draw, and then we'll banish the Titan. Hope this all works. And they only have 2 cards left, so Black Lotus, Gaia's Cradle, Channel, all gone. If they have just a way to kill Banishing Light, that would be awful. Once we can untap, we're in good shape. Wall of Roots, yep, that doesn't do it. I think, yeah, they really screwed up playing Channel, I guess. But maybe it was intentional to see if they could bait counter magic. That's my only thought there. Anyway, yeah, nothing for Elspeth Conquers Death, but I do want a black source and a second white source, so I guess it's fine to play this and just wait until their turn. Yeah, we can just sit back on drawing 2 cards a turn and all this counter magic. Sylvan Library. Well, I don't love that. I don't love that. Let's see what we can do about it. We could just do Mystic Confluence here. Or we could Venser it back to their hand and worry about it next turn. So let's start by drawing a card and then use Venser. Maybe we'll draw a more appropriate answer. Okay, so that's fine, because they don't get any advantage from that until their next turn anyway. And then, all right, just another land. So we are in great shape here. Venser back the library. Oblivion Ring, another good answer to it. Don't need more black here, so let's play land, draw card. Orzhov Signet. Yeah, play Orzhov Signet, and then hold up Remand, I guess. Because I want this Oblivion Ring to deal with the card draw engine that is the library, and then Remand whatever else. So library resolves, maybe Remand whatever this is, most creatures I'd want to get rid of. Wall of Roots does a pretty good job of ramping them. More blue, we already have plenty of black here. And let's start with Oblivion Ring. That'll get the library, and then hold up Counter Magic. Oh, I think I missed my library, but we can hold up Mystic Confluence, and at some point enough is enough. So yeah, that is enough for now. We can even do Oracle, but I am interested in getting some more library action if we can. More land. Okay, seems good. And now is prime time to draw with library, so I missed that one turn. Relic doesn't help us so much against this board or maybe even this deck. So what we'll do here is I guess just hold up Remand and play out Sphinx. Sphinx puts a clock on them. They do lose to it. We don't have to draw to it, so they're not going to mill us. No point wasting time attacking here. Don't need my end step anymore. So always yield to this, but definitely not always yes, because their Wheel of Fortune turns into a death sentence. Okay. Before the draw step, oh, they're going to get Primeval Titan back. Now that is interesting. They give me an extra creature, but they get their monster. That's something Elspeth can conquer. Yeah, this is okay. Remand doesn't help us enough, unless it draws Force of Will. Puts Beast Within back in their hand. I think we're okay here. Yeah, Primeval Titan is not that scary, depending on what lands they get. And if they can hardcast Emrakul next turn or something. Looks like their deck has it. I mean, Black Lotus, Channel. It's a lot of good stuff. Draw step. So always yield here. Yes, I would like to use it this time. Yeah, no Force of Will on top, so it wouldn't have probably mattered. They tap 3 extra mana here, and they're going to lose it all, so maybe that was unintentional. Scary deck. I feel like they probably have Mox Emerald and something else in there too, but it is mono green. Alright, alright. Primeval can't attack this turn. We can't do much here. Fancy new beast on the board. That's always good. But this turn... Gotta keep track of how many lands we have out there at any moment. And I think the rest is going to be blue in case we need black or whatever other color here. So let's go Elspeth Conquers Death to get rid of Primeval Titan, to reduce their mana count by 1 or 3 or however you want to look at it, and hold up all our stuff. That means attacking with everybody here. That gets in 6. Oracle doesn't help the clock out that much. I mean, it does help the clock, but at this point I would rather just keep up Mystic Confluence, among other things. Draw 2 cards. Oh, shoot. Yeah. There we go, Force of Will. Now we could still lose to Emrakul, but let's see, 9, 10. It's only 10 mana, so I don't think Ulamog would kill us, and most of the other Eldrazi are counterable. Even if their effects are pretty strong. Our board is just so good now. Eternal Witness. Oh. Well. Yeah, you could do that, but what would they get back? Channel, maybe. So I'd probably counter Channel here, oddly enough. Beast Within. And that, what's that going to get back? I certainly do not know. We'll see what they target. Probably Consecrated Sphinx. But whatever it targets, I am going to counter. Alright, back to me. Now their spells are going to cost a little more. We are going to play our Shelldock. There we go. Now we can Karakas back Emrakul. Better yet, get Sphinx. Protection from red and green. Yeah, I'm still a bit worried about Emrakul, but what can you do? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm counting for Thassa's Oracle, because that could be another way to win this game. Start with Relic. Eight cards in hand. Do we want to give up Venser? I guess we just don't want to give up Venser. Okay, so those bounce. What we can do here is just kind of loot away an island. Now are they going to go for it? They're going to kill Sphinx? The sooner they kill Sphinx, the easier it is to get it back. Beast Within. This to get the library back. That is a good time to remand Beast Within, because it's so expensive for them to actually cast it here. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Ooh, and Karn coming up soon. And that should really help us. Okay, goodbye Black Lotus from them. Goodbye Island from us, I think. What now? Oh, it's on upkeep, but this thing triggers on upkeep, so it's not exactly the best time to do it. Beast Within, you got it. More beasts for me, thank you very much. I guess I see what they were trying to do, but... Oh, no, it's their draw step. Never mind. It's their draw step, but that was expensive. So yeah, we'll use this. And I think at some point here, yeah, always yield to that. At some point here, we're just going to win with Thassa's Oracle. So I'm going to keep drawing a bunch. I forgot Library again, but yeah, hopefully it doesn't come down to exactly one card. Yeah, they do not want me to. They saw their 2 cards, and they were not going to help them win, so cool. That would have been fun to win there with Thassa's Oracle. I think we were going to next turn, but they didn't know that. Anyway, Path of Exile here. That'll be good. Oath of Druids might be good in this matchup, but I really don't want to try that. The other thing is try to get Iona into play, because that completely shuts down their deck. Except for those Eldrazi that I'm sure are lurking somewhere. But the mana is difficult to manage, and we have a hard time getting Iona into our graveyard. So why don't we just keep it like this? Maybe the Scarab God. I think this is fine. Let's just do it. The problem with the Scarab God is we don't have many ways of killing things. It's mostly exile. How about this hand? This hand is a bit slow. It does have Force of Negation, but it doesn't have any ramp, and these cards are basically useless. I think this is worth a mulligan. This looks a bit better, and it probably requires putting back Thassa's Oracle, unfortunately. So let's keep this. Throw away the Oracle, ouch, because that's not going to come down on turn 2. And I suppose if it's the last card in your deck that you draw, you do pretty well. Force of Negation. We could negate Channel. That might be the only way to win against a turn 2 Channel. Don't do it. Okay, Library. Narset might be good enough against Library. Shoot. I should really counter this. I should really counter it. There's no other way to deal with it, and it just accelerates them too much, and we have nothing. Narset just doesn't do enough. I mean, Narset beats it if we had enough time to play it, but we just don't. So that's tough. This is going to be a tough game to win. What else do they have? Wall of Roots, okay. It might be slow enough to give us a bit of hope here. What we didn't see so much of is, well, we saw Beast Within. We saw lots of Beast Within. So that's the one good way they have of destroying our artifacts and enchantments. Green decks can have a lot more ways than that, and we'll see if any of those come out. All right, here's Garruk. Not the worst thing in the world for us. Untap 2 lands and a Caryatid. So put a charge counter here. Doubt we'll be able to pressure Garruk past 2 walls like this. Oh, but Karn. Oh, it's so close. Next turn. Always yield to this. Add a blue, I guess. And what could we do? I guess we could bounce Garruk back to its owner's hand. Or just try to counter the next thing they do. Counter the next spell they play, maybe. That is tough. Yeah, I think we're just gonna bounce Garruk back now. And then charge up Coalition Relic. It gives away what we have and don't have. Like, we don't have a 2-mana counterspell, but it certainly makes F6ing through their turn easier. 4 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's still not enough for Karn unless we draw the land we need. So hopefully we get that land. And then, let's see what they're going to do here. Oh, no, Nissa. That's a lot of mana too. Well, Karn has its target. Oh, that's really bad. Okay, well. Maybe I really needed to hold up mana there. Yeah, and we still get Garruk out, so it's not getting any easier. Mono green with the good stuff. Questing Beast too. Even if we do get Karn, it's not going to be easy here. So I think that is game. If we're not dead next turn, which we are, then going to be dead pretty soon after that. We don't even get Karn this turn, so hopefully on the play things are a bit easier. Oath, again, might be decent, but I think we just need to get ahead of them. Not let them resolve the big planeswalkers like Nissa. Force of Negation. That could have just been wrong to do that when we did. Yes, I'll play first. Come on, good hand, good hand. It's not great, but I guess with the 2 mana counter magic on the play, it's good enough. Signet's interesting here because although it gets us up to 4 mana, it doesn't get us triple blue. So I wonder what we'll do here. Their turn 2 isn't that scary, but it's more scary when they have a Fintorn Elf, so let's hold up Mana Leak for a while. An X spell? What's this going to be? Green Sun Zenith. Well, basically Mana Leak anything. And then Oracle might be nice, but I expect getting a Signet down is more important here. So we'll have 5 next turn for the Confluence. Garruk would be annoying. This could have been Raphellos, so I mean, we didn't have much option there. Any green creature, and that was converted mana cost 2 or less. Black Lotus, oh boy, here's Primeval Titan, and that would be a little too early for us to deal with that. Yeah, a little too early. Black Lotus and Channel, and that's a turn 1 Emrakul on its own. Even if we do draw the answer to Primeval Titan, we have several in the deck, I don't think it's going to be enough. Coalition Relic isn't going to do it. Confluence bounces both of those, and if we bounce Primeval Titan, they don't really get to play it here. So maybe that's the option. Bounce 2 creatures, draw a card. Just got to slow them down a bit with the Fintorn Elves. Ashiok. Okay. Yeah, so in 2 turns, or if they play Channel, they get back the Primeval Titan. Or if they play enough good Planeswalkers. Questing Beast, pretty strong. And that's one, I've never actually seen it do this, but it's going to be able to kill Ashiok and do 4 damage to me, I think. Elves, and then 2 more mana even this turn. Oh, what a busted start here. This is not going to be easy. Vigilance, Death Touch, Haste. So I think we have to do... Oh, hold on. I think we have to do Ashiok and Thassa's Oracle and hope Thassa's Oracle can block for Ashiok. Oh no, it can't. Oh no. Well, at least it can block Fintorn Elves. What did we get? Sylvan Library, Forest. Okay, so we look at the top 3. We pick one to keep on top. Elspeth Conquers Death is almost good, but I think it's too slow here. And I just want to be drawing lands. Okay. Yeah, because if we can get up to Karn, maybe we can start answering their threats one at a time. Vigilance, Haste, that puts Ashiok down to 1 here. And if they kill Thassa's Oracle, they can kill Ashiok and do a total of 9 damage. Oh, Questing Beast. Yep, coming after me. I can't block it because for some reason that's one of its many abilities. But Ashiok's alive. Six for Primeval Titan again. And the Trample is going to make that really hard to deal with. So that looks like the priority to deal with here. Anyway, mill them a bit more. Maybe that'll help. We get Guruk Fastbond and Jiraga Treespeaker. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we are not in great shape here. And all we can do is hope that we draw very well. And I didn't take a Wrath, so it might not even be possible to draw out of this. Ugin, if we had Ugin in our hand and not Karn, maybe we'd have a chance. But we get so low this turn. Is this going to be Craterhoof? It is Craterhoof, so we're going out with style. What can they get us to here? Only +4/+4, but 36, yeah. -25, anyone? -22. They're all coming at me, so let's block. We gotta block one of them. And if I did my maths right, we are at very low life. Anyway, we got past the first round. Basically, the Storm deck wasn't able to do it. Oh, I miscounted somehow. Anyway, thank you for watching, and good luck in your drafts.